Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Samurai Goddess. The goddess next door takes on kung fu killers in this action-packed martial arts Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Samurai Goddess in paperback and e-readers today. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have become the latest comic book property to become hijacked by social justice warriors. And in this new version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, SJWs have gone out of their way to take everything that was iconic related to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and replace it with things to fit their own agenda. Now, in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there were all the turtles were the same type of turtle, and the origin was they were somebody's pet turtles. They wound up falling into a sewer, and then they wound up landing in some retro mutagen ooze. And this ooze mutated them, but it also mutated Splinter, the rat who was owned by Hamato Yoshi. And as they were mutated, the sensei, Hamato Yoshi's rat Splinter, began teaching the Ninja Turtles their skills and abilities. And each of those abilities were related to different skill sets. Leonardo was the master of the katana, Donatello was the master of the bow staff, Raphael was the master of the sai, and Michelangelo was the master of the nunchakas. And each of those weapons were weapons that ninjas used. However, SJWs decide that those iconic ninja weapons that the Ninja Turtles used aren't good enough, so they decide they're going to take away Raphael's iconic sais, Michelangelo's nunchakas, Leonardo's katanas, and Donatello's bow staff, and replace them with new weapons. And when you take away the weapons, then you take away what is important to ninja culture, and you take away from the Ninja Turtle history. But you can't explain that to the SJW because the SJW was all about making things fit their narrative. They don't concern themselves with staying true to the source material. They want to change the source material, not understanding when you change the source material, then it is no longer that story. So if you change the Ninja Turtles' weapons, you have changed it from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into something else. But you can't tell that to the social justice warrior because they're all caught up in their agenda and their identity politics. And part of their identity politics is not only changing the Ninja Turtles' weapons, but changing what type of turtles they were. The reason why all the turtles were the same was because when children go out here and buy a pet like a turtle, they usually buy the same type of turtle. But the new people, they want to come in and make all the turtles different types of turtles, all in the name of diversity. Not understanding that when people buy pets, they're like hamsters or small rodents, they usually buy the same type of pet. So their whole agenda, identity politics, is just something that children would not relate to, but they're going to do this all in the name of the diversity. So all the Ninja Turtles are different types of turtles, not understanding that different types of turtles have different diets, but SJWs cover this over by saying the Ninja Turtles eat vegan pizza, which makes no sense because pizza itself is a vegan thing. I mean, most vegans eat pizza because pizza is made up of flour, cheese, and tomatoes. So SJWs, again, trying to shoehorn their diversity and their identity politics into a children's programming where it doesn't need to be. And what really irks me about this new adaptation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the attempt to shoehorn diversity with the character of April O'Neil. Now, April O'Neil, ever since the original 1987 comic book, has always been a white female. And in the new Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles adaptation, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they want to make April O'Neil a black woman with purple hair, basically making her into a social justice warrior type character. And the only thing she needs is to have the sides of her head shaved. And again, does not need to be done because there's always been diversity in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You have Hamato Yoshi's Rat Splinter, and then you have references to Hamato Yoshi himself, who was an Asian man. You have Oroku Sakai, who was the Shredder, who was also Asian. So there are Asian people in there, and in the original Ninja Turtles comic books, Baxter Stockman was black. So there was diversity already in the Ninja Turtles source material. But SJWs want to shoehorn diversity based on what they believe to be in an old Ninja Turtles comic, which was non-canon, where they had a so-called Black April O'Neil. But April O'Neil, if you listen to her name, is an Irish name. That's why she was a white female with auburn or reddish brown hair, because she's Irish. But again, you can't explain this to the social justice warrior, because the social justice warrior is all about the agenda, and they're all about their identity politics. And when you take a look at the Ninja Turtles, they're all about rewriting the story to fit their agenda. So in their version of the Ninja Turtles, they want to make Raphael the leader. Now, Raphael in the old Ninja Turtles was the tough guy. He was the loose cannon. And the reason why he wasn't the leader was because he was a loose cannon. Now, Leonardo, on the other hand, was the leader because he was the most disciplined of the Ninja Turtles. He had the most self-control, and he was the one who respected the authority of Splinter. Now, Raphael, on the other hand, he was a loose cannon, and that's why he was not fit for leadership material. Part of being a leader is being responsible, and then when you're a loose cannon, you cannot be an effective leader. So this show by these SJWs doesn't really understand what family is, they don't understand what leadership is, and they don't understand structure. So you make a loose cannon the leader, and then you have the Leonardo character in the background. You have Michelangelo, who is he's no longer, I don't think he's the party dude anymore. And then you have Donatello, who's still the inventor, but again, it just doesn't gel right because the characters are outside of their roles. In order for a team to work, you have to have a team leader who can be responsible for the entire team. And Leonardo was the most responsible. That's why he was given the katanas, because the katana one of the most dangerous weapons to own. The swords represented the role of the ninja or the samurai, and him getting those swords passed to him by Splinter was a symbolic gesture to show that they was passing the legacy on of the original master Hamato Yoshi. That's what that was all about. But the SJWs, again, they don't understand the ninja, they don't understand the samurai, and they don't understand the Bushido, the way of the warrior, or the code of conduct that the samurai participate in, and the importance of the swords and why Leonardo had to have the swords. The katana blades, they represented something, and all of that was lost in this adaptation where these guys wanted to go and bring in their new-fangled SJW ideas instead of taking a more critical look at the source material. Because when I take a critical look at the source material and understand the role of the samurai, the role of the ninja, and how they operate, I understand why each of those characters has those weapons, because those weapons are symbolic of not only what their role is, or it is also a role of who they are. Again, Leonardo was given the katana blades because he honored Splinter, he honored Hamato Yoshi, and he valued him, and he was passing it on to him as a symbol of his responsibility and his leadership. Donatello has the bow staff because he is a pacifist and he is nonviolent, and he tries to do things in the most passive way. And the bow staff is what somebody uses when they are a pacifist and nonviolent. Raphael has the sai because he's a bit of a loose cannon, and the sai allows him not to really do that much damage to people, but it is a great defensive weapon. Michelangelo has the nunchuckers because he's very free-willing and happy-go-lucky, and the nunchuckers represent that to Michelangelo's personality. So each weapon is not just a weapon, it is a part of who they are, and that's what a part of the whole ninja philosophy is. People choose weapons based not just on their martial arts skill, but it's also part of who they are. So each weapon has a role for each character. But SJWs, because they are from the outside looking in, they just want to shoehorn their agendas on people and not think about the source material or how these weapons work and how they relate to the characters. They're not really digging deep into this story of the Ninja Turtles. They want to try to change the story of the Ninja Turtles to reflect their own views. And when I take a look at their adaptation of Ninja Turtles, I believe it's going to fall flat, just like Saban's 1995 show and the Michael Bay adaptation that came to movie theaters a couple of years ago. Both of those have been vehemently rejected by many Ninja Turtle fans, and the adaptations that have stood the test of time are the '89 cartoon, the 2003 cartoon, I believe, because the 2003 cartoon is the most like the Ninja Turtle comic books from Eastman and Laird, and the recent cartoon that came a couple of years ago from Nickelodeon. But I believe Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be one of the lesser adaptations, and one of the reasons why it's going to be one of the lesser adaptations is because SJWs have come in and rewritten the story of the Ninja Turtles to reflect their identity politics. And when it comes down to identity politics, people reject identity politics. They don't want to see people shoehorning diversity where it doesn't belong. And in an adaptation, when they want an adaptation of a comic book character, they want to see those characters come to life and stay true to their characters. And when I look at April O'Neil, I really get offended by that Black April O'Neil because as a creator of black characters, I find it really offensive when people change a character's ethnicity all for the sake of diversity and don't respect what original creators do. I have a philosophy when I create characters and if I work on other people's characters of doing unto others as you would do unto you. And I don't want my character's ethnicity changed from black to white, so I'm not going to take a white character and change them into a black character in the way DC Comics did with Kid Flash and the way they're doing with April O'Neil, because that type of diversity is really forced and it does not fit organically. Moreover, it changes a character from who they are into someone else. And when you change a character from who they are into someone else, you wind up changing their story in ways that wind up derailing the original story overall. And you wind up distracting the audience from the story of the main characters and then focus it on minuscule characters all based on their ethnicity. Because when you give us a black April O'Neil, it is the same thing as what they used to do in old 1980s sitcoms like Different Strokes and Webster, or a recent episode of Silver Spoons I watched, which featured the Latin band Menudo. Now, in this episode of Silver Spoons, the Ricky Stratton character is enamored by this Latina girl, and she's only there so that the guest star Menudo can be on the show. And I looked at that episode and I just saw how racist that was, because you only had this Latina girl that he was pining for, and she was only there because they had Menudo on. And the same thing with Different Strokes. You have these two black kids, and they're with this white man who adopts them, and all we get are black kids who are just there because they're there for the sake of being black. And instead of them becoming rich, multidimensional characters, we wind up getting caricatures based on stereotypes. And that's one of the big problems with SJWs. They boil people down into stereotypes, and instead of us seeing individual people, we get to see representations of a race no different than what we used to see on Ted Turner's Captain Planet show, which was really horrible because Captain Planet, people weren't people. They were representations of ethnicities, and that sucked all the fun out of everything. But that's what SJWs do. They suck the life out of everything because everything is all about their identity politics and not about just creating a great story that winds up endearing itself to us, like the story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The reason why the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles story has been so popular over the last 30 years is because it relates to children of all ages, all races, all ethnicities, and that story is so popular it has been retold numerous times. I mean, I look at the numerous versions of Ninja Turtles from the '89 cartoon, the 1990 movie, the 1991 Secret of the Ooze, and the '95 show, which most people don't talk about because it was just a bad adaptation. The 2003 second Ninja Turtle cartoon, and the recent Ninja Turtle cartoon, and the versions that remained popular with people were the ones that stayed true to the source material. The ones that stayed true to the source material were the '89 cartoon, except for Baxter Stockman being white, the 2003 cartoon, the 1990 movie, the '91 sequel, And those are the ones that people consider to be definitive versions of the Ninja Turtles. I look at this version, and it's just going to be another aberration like the 95 live action show. And the reason why it's going to be an aberration is because it doesn't stay true to the source material, and it tries to shoehorn identity politics in a place it doesn't belong. When it comes down to comic book and superhero adaptations, people want to see stories that stay true to the source material. They want to see stories that treat the characters with respect, and writers and artists who respect the characters and the story that the original creators made. And as I see it, this SJW agenda, it really just needs to stop, because there's a place, if you want to create something with identity politics in it, then go create your own characters, build your own platform, but leave these great iconic characters alone. Let them have their own stories, and let their stories endure with audiences for generation to generation. What made the Ninja Turtles great was that their story related to everyone, but SJWs want to make their story be politically correct. And Ninja Turtles was never meant to be that. Ninja Turtles is Ninja Turtles, and if SJWs want to go out and make stories related to their identity politics, I urge them to go out here, make their own characters, tell their own stories, and leave classic characters like the Ninja Turtles alone. If you'd like to try some of my SJS Direct fantasy books like the ISIS series, the Eastine series, The Temptation of John Haynes, and the Spinsterella trilogy, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. And if you want to see me make more videos and publish more books, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.